Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. Welcome to Ask Infinity, where my name is Jordan Lindo. I take care of the Ask. And today's Infinity is
Sara Di Felice.
Sara Di Felice.
Sara Di Felice, yes, thank you. We had this conversation of how to actually pronounce my name, and in my rebranding from 5D TV, I would introduce myself Sara Di.
Yeah.
And I decided, I really love my last name. I need to use the whole thing so people don't just call me Sara Di. It's Sara Di Felice. It's Italian, and Felice means happiness, of happiness, and that's what I'm all about. So, Sara Di Felice.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I was saying earlier that it's like you're leaving the happiness out when you don't use the full name.
Exactly. You got to use the full name. So that's what it's about.
Okay, so Sara Di Felice, can you just bring us a little bit into your world? Tell us what you do. Tell us who you are and what's on the horizon for you right now.
Well, I'm Sara Di Felice. And on the horizon for me is a lot. And I love that we're in this looking out at the lake.
At the horizon.
At the horizon and the expansion that the beautiful lake has to imbue on us as we just sit here. And the flow, so I'm rebranding to the Flow Network, and I'm in a lot of transitions, and I've been documenting my evolutions, a part of my passion. Video.
Okay,
is
so
part of my
for
passion.
people listening and watching, they're probably wondering rebranding from what?
Yeah.
So walk us through like where you were at before this,
Yeah.
what the brand was, and what it's moving into.
Sure. Well, it was called 5D TV Network, which was coming from the concept of the fifth dimension and the understanding that the collective consciousness is under a huge paradigm shift from living outside in, as I say. And we're moving from the understanding of living inside out.
Yes.
And in this understanding comes the concepts of things like unconditional love, and we are the creators of our reality, and acceptance, and non-judgment, and forgiveness. And these are all energetic frequencies that translate to what some people are calling the fifth dimension. Mm-hmm. What I was finding was people were getting stuck in the 5 and the D, and there is we are multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
And so that's what it ultimately was all about, is that we are one, and this concept of unity and coming to this collective understanding of being co-creators of our reality. And in amongst my transitions the reason why I created the network was to create what I've been calling a broadcasting communication bridge. Uh-huh. With the understanding of communicating these new ways of being is really important. And I come from a television broadcasting background and worked in networks and worked in the industry for a number of years. And with that sort of passion in creating video and telling stories, I created a platform. Mm-hmm. And whenever you set out to do what you love to do and what is your passion, as we were discussing at lunch, the universe always will present you with some obstacles or challenges, or some people call them tests, to really, they're there because they're sort of remnants of what we subconsciously created for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And so everything that we've subconsciously created is still coming up for us to sort of address and say, this isn't what I really want, actually. Wow. So I've been on a journey of letting go.
Hold on a second, because that's a huge concept.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the universe will bring things up to throw at us to really help us focus on what it is that we truly are looking to manifest. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not exactly, because it's not like the universe is throwing anything at us. We created it. And the out-in phenomenon of this paradigm shift is that we believed we've been victims of our reality, and we've just kind of had to, be victims of the circumstances of our environment, and that concept of the universe is throwing things at me. Oh, poor me. It's not about that. Rather, to understand and claim your power to say, I have always been the creator of my reality.
Yes.
It's never not been that.
Yes.
It's been subconscious often. A lot of us, we all have different patterns of who we were told to be based on our parents, our culture, our religion, where, our environment is. So we are imprinted with all these programs or patterns of how we should be. And that sort of has dictated from the outside, inside of who we think that we are.
Yeah.
And so then when you really go on to a journey of doing what it is that you love, you're focusing on what you love, but you still got all this subconscious stuff that's coming up of what you didn't love. So you go through this wash cycle of figuring out who it is you are not to really be able to step into who it is that you are. So it's not that the universe is throwing you things, it's just you created those things subconsciously, and they're in your reality. And your job, as we teach on the Flow Network, is we only have 2 responses to our reality. We can respond with the fear response, or many people say fear or love. We say the flow response, the fear response or the flow response. And flow is this idea of you're not a victim. Everything that you've created, accept it and own it, that it's been yours. And now how are you going to live empowered and create what you want moving forward for your life?
Okay, that's super, super, I just love it because it's in alignment with what I'm experiencing right now as well. But I want to bring it back because I felt like you described what the 5D network was. But I want you to go more into the Flow Network because this is new for me too. Like I'm just now encountering it today and yesterday, I think, for the first time. So, like, give us more insight into what the Flow Network is doing and what it's going to be up to and what its mission is. Like, do you have a mission statement?
We're working on the mission statement. Ultimately, it's so that all humans can really be outrageously themselves and do what they love. And with that understanding of, we're all one, we're all connected to nature, we're not separate from nature. Nature is abundant, nature is prosperous. And when we come to our authentic true nature, we are also that. So my journey before 5D TV, and I've been sort of documenting my own evolution from YouTube days, has been to, we have these understandings at an intellectual level, and in our minds it's so easy to say things. But it's really like embodying it and getting into the really feeling it at a cellular level. And so I've been documenting my journey of just trusting and believing that this is possible, and if it's possible for me, then it's possible for anybody. So in changing and rebranding to Flow Network, it just felt so, well, first of all,
Sorry.
It came in flow. Just all of the circumstances that have aligned have I was, ready to rebrand in my pivot and transition and letting go, which I have shared on my network. And so what we're up to is really creating a new mass media network, like similar to CNN or ABC or whatever, with this understanding that there's a lot of fear-based content, and that content that we watch, everything that we watch and consume creates who we are, and that is also through our media. And I wanted to create a network that was about flow-based content that was empowering people to just be themselves, and to create a space, a digital space, which the digital space is just a way to connect to people because that's where a lot of people exist right now. But ultimately, it's about human connection and the human experience.
And the funny thing is like, I don't know, for the people or the viewers watching or listening, if you know about Sara's previous content, then you know that, and you're hearing about Flow now, you'll see the similarities, but also you'll see just how much, and this is sounding so much like a promotion. It's like I don't even mean to sound like this, but it's just coming from a organic place.
And can I say, because you've been with me since the beginning of that 5D journey.
I'm a bit biased.
So you are a little biased. But it was also in flow, right?
Yeah, it really was. It's like the stars aligning, really. With me being there during your journey and seeing where you're at now, and just how much more in alignment what you're doing now is.
You could feel the resonance of the alignment.
Yeah, it's so funny because if I can just be real with you, I really enjoyed 5D TV and everything all the content you created on there, but there was a part of me that was like, something is missing. Like, it's not quite right. And I'm okay saying this now.
Because and I'm okay also. I'm like, this is life. You set out to say, I had such big intentions and aspirations when I created that network. And it came from such a pure place and such a like I always said, it's not me, it's something bigger than me, you know. And it's a community. It's about building community, and it's about aligning to other people who have the same understanding. That, you know, that's why we've met and we still continue to hang out and be friends. But there was something missing in me. So what I'm a main teacher of is that the in to out philosophy is everything starts within, and we're all connected. So you are me, and I am you. And my business is me, and the people that I'm surrounded around are me.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's something missing in me, or if I'm not truly 100% authentically me, there's going to feel that missing piece.
Yes.
So I've been on a journey with these high aspirations. When we have these high goals and we go outside of our comfort zone, as equally as high as our aspirations are, we equally have a lot of shit to let go of who we're not.
Oh, interesting.
And this is something that not a lot of people talk about. So this is what I've been telling you. I have a workshop tomorrow. What's your capacity for success? So we're going to be going deeper into this kind of conversation. But in other words, there was a lot of things that I had to let go of to find my wholeness, where I didn't feel like there was a piece of me missing. And when I created 5D, I wasn't in a place to want to own it even. I was half in myself.
Okay.
So obviously, if you're half in creating a business, what are you expect your results to be?
Yeah, it's so funny you said that. Someone was just telling me my brother made a post on Facebook about that exact thing. Like if you only do something halfway in, then your results are halfway.
Exactly.
But yeah, and you know, that actually pins down what I was trying to communicate, which was during your 5D time, you were very much, show them. You were very much in process and in growth, and now I feel like you've landed.
That's exactly.
You've landed with the Flow Network.
I've landed with the Flow, and it's so funny because when I was in the letting go phase, which is, I was very like hermited and was honoring my regeneration phase.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of different people in the community reach out to me, and this one woman reached out, and she studies the human blueprint design. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know about it. I didn't know, there's these 4 different, your projector, manifestor, reflector.
You're talking about Katie's mom. No, Katie's mom.
Yes, Diana.
Diana. I love Diana.
Yeah, and so she was like,
Small
Sarah, you're a master of flow, and you're going to be teaching people about flow, and blah, 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 blah. And that was back in November. Mm-hmm. And so when I met Tim, who's this brilliant man that I've partnered with the flow response, mm-hmm. and meeting in flow, we literally met in a restaurant. We both had held these intentions.
Okay, so now we introduced something new, the flow response. What is that?
Well, that was the whole. There's the fear response or the flow response.
Okay. So
you can respond with fear. We have 2 ways we can respond.
So is
to our
that like
reality.
a philosophy?
Yeah, it's basically choosing love over fear, but there's a whole whack of business models, mental models that him and his wife have created that really simplify it.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, it's beautiful, and we've completely aligned, and it was just completely in flow. And when I came to the decision to rebrand, flow was just there, obviously. And then looking back in those notes from when I had that call with Diana, who just reached out to me and saying this, it was just, the universe it makes you realize how the universe is always sort of pointing you in the direction of what you want. And then you can look back and witness how many times your fears, you're responding to fear, which is fight, flight, or freeze. And much of my life has been either flighting, like flying away, wanting to run away when things were getting successful, or when things were getting momentum. My response was a fear response, which was to run away, mm-hmm. or to freeze and just do nothing.
Okay.
And so it's, that's kind of and we all do this. We get presented with something, and we either have a fear response to it, or we have a love response.
Yeah.
The flow response: accept, allow, and act.
this is because the reason I'm asking is because this is the first time I've heard about the flow response. So I'm wondering if this is something that was out there already that you've adopted, or did you guys create it, or?
He had created it, but it's my philosophy of life.
Okay.
Which is how I live flow.
So you've been living like this.
I've been living like this.
Okay.
And why I understood the importance of documenting evolution in a time where video is so important. You know, you were a part of my broadcast masterclass that I did. You videoed for it, and I was talking about the importance of having authentic, organic conversations and create content that is really showing who the person is behind what it is that they do.
Yeah.
So Tim had been looking for someone in broadcasting because he had developed this and been living this as well, but his expertise was not in broadcasting or.
Okay, so like break down who is the team? So I've heard Tim. Is there anybody else?
There are other flow responders, as we call them. We have a coder who's creating a software platform.
Okay.
We have also people who are in like the tech space, you know, do SEO website sort of things.
So how big is the team? How many members?
Right now there's 5.
5 of you guys?
Yeah. Tim's wife she's got a huge long background in adult education, learning, community building. Yeah.
So that's interesting. So she's in community building. Does she do marketing as well?
Actually, both Tim and Sharon have done marketing in the past.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So what is it that they see, like what is it that you're doing different in terms of marketing that they are so
So one thing we're going to be teaching in the workshop is something that we've been calling transformational marketing.
Yeah.
So this is the direction of what it is that I'm bringing to businesses, is this concept of being authentic and real.
Yeah.
And how to utilize transformational marketing and documenting someone's journey of their transformation. Because whenever you set out to do what it is you love, yes, you're going to go through a transformation.
That's so funny.
And if you can capture that authentically,
yeah,
and you allow people into your space where you're being vulnerable,
yeah,
you immediately can create trust with people. And you show the beautiful synchronicities that you like. I have this hashtag, you just can't write this shit. And we said that a couple times today.
Yeah.
So you just can't write this shit. Well, then let's document it. Let's capture it in real time. Editing is my art, is an art of mine. And so I've been using a video camera since I was a child, and editing video since I was a kid. So I just have this natural ability to just throw a camera up and then create a story, an authentic story.
Yeah.
So they saw that. Obviously, amongst other things, I have a background in business, and I was working for a tech startup in the broadcast world when the broadcast was under an evolution of going from physical tape-based assets to digital.
Yeah.
And I headed up the training department there, which included creating workshops and training materials and videos, and I was a part of all the different departments because it was a startup, so I got to know the advertising and the marketing and the engineering team and the sales team, and I kind of wore a lot of different hats. And then it was an international company, and I was the trainer, so once the system was installed, I would go and train the people at the different networks. I was at CNN, I was at CBS, I was at
so you have a really rich background too, like
yes,
with major companies.
Yes.
So obviously that was something that they were like, okay, check.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
so it was flow, and it just all aligned, and there was no force or push, which is what we also teach, that in business, the business world is changing along with all other, like, as we are collectively realizing we're the creators, the way we do business, the way our economy works, the way our education system works, like everything is going to go and is going through a change, whether people are present to that or not. And a lot of it has come from a push to get things done and push to achieve, and that way is like when you see people doing that, they're burnt out, and there's no well-being there. And it can only go for so long. So mastering your inner reality and taking care of your well-being on the inside, and coming from a place of pull, as we like to say, instead of push, you can surrender into the divine flow.
Have you always been this spiritual? Because like you're like I don't know if you realize, but you're like super tapped in right now, and like you're using a lot of these spiritual terms. I don't know if everyone watching or listening will be totally 100% understanding, I
Right.
guess, for lack of a better word.
Yes.
So I guess the question I'm asking is, have you always been this spiritual?
Yes.
Like you came out of the womb.
Well, I think, and this is the funny thing that we've been having this conversation, because a part of the 5D TV network was to be that bridge
Yeah.
of not only living, from out to in, but the bridge specifically, a lot of the conversation was around bringing the business world and the spiritual world together, because I believe we're all born spiritual and we're all born business. Like they're just labels.
Yeah.
So to answer your question about the spiritual, yes, and then I totally had different parts of my childhood that I shut that part off. Like I would have premonition dreams, and when I was younger, and then they would scare me, or I would do these crazy energy healing things and would scare people, and so I think we shut things off based on what our
Wow.
outer environment has given to us.
That's insane. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So can we stop there for a second?
Okay, sure.
So you had premonition dreams. Like what were you seeing? If you're comfortable going into it. Like,
Sure. Well, I had a dream that my dog died. I won't get into the whole story of it, but we were in a mall. It was a dream, and my dog Floyd was his name, fell through the balcony on the second floor and fell on the ground and landed in a puddle of water.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran down and I saw him, and he was dead in the water. And the next day, my family and I went out for a walk, and it was winter, and he was off the leash, and as a lot of dogs were, and he ran across the creek and fell through the ice, and we lost him.
Oh no! Wow.
Yeah. So I was traumatized by obviously the incident of the dog falling, and my dad went in, and it was up to his chest, and we were all freaking out, like the dog, but it also freaked me out that I dreamt about it the day before.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I was like, what? Did that really happen? And I just kind of shut that all down.
Like, okay, we're gonna turn that off. Let's hit the switch on this. So
However,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, but I was always a seeker. Like when I was little, I would always think about the infinite space and how is it possible that we as humans are finite, but life is infinite. And I grew up in we went to church, and I just never got a comfortable feeling, because I knew my friends also had different religions and they had different gods, and I thought, how could my God be right and their God be wrong?
Yeah.
Shouldn't there just be one God? Like, I don't understand this. What is all this? And I would actually get into panic attacks thinking about it.
Yeah.
I would literally go cold, and sometimes I would have trouble falling asleep at night, because I would feel my breath breathing me. And I get all caught up in, am I controlling my breath, or is my breath controlling me, and what's going on here? And
What? Like, what is? I mean, like, how do you even deal with something like that? Like,
well,
because that's a very, not a lot of kids are having that thought.
Yeah.
That's a very, very advanced thought. And I mean, was that before or after you started shutting things down?
It was before. I've like, as long as I could remember, I've been asking these questions, and I would ask. I had this real fear of death.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one day I'm just like, my mom, my dad, like everyone's just gonna be gone. Like, what is all of this about?
Mm-hmm.
And I sort of had this understanding that everything was an illusion without really understanding that.
Wow.
And so I just was like, well, we just got to be fun and be happy. And I really took pleasure out of making other people smile and laugh. But I still would always kind of block out this idea of like death. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, we're infinite, but we're finite. What? And what is this place? So I definitely have always been a seeker and asking questions, and yeah.
Wow. So is there a point where you felt like you thought that it was necessary to turn these things back on? Are you still in the process of doing that, or?
Well, so when I did the stuff you're supposed to do, I got into the regular life, get a boyfriend, get a house, get a good job. So I worked for this company that I went to school for television broadcasting. Got a great job offer after, worked there, got to travel, it was amazing. But I started feeling like a piece was missing, and it was just so prominently like I need to be doing something else. And I decided to study yoga. So I became a yoga teacher. And that brought me back to a lot of things that felt familiar. And I started to piece together, actually, once I sort of told my parents I'm done with this whole church thing. But I was still looking for answers.
That couldn't have been easy.
No.
Hey, Mom,
well,
Dad.
Actually, the funny thing is,
this whole thing that you built your entire life around, I don't believe it anymore.
Yeah.
Peace.
Well, it's funny because I ended up converting my parents out of it as well.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but anyways, I was looking for something. So I started to study the quantum world. Quantum and energy. We are energy. We can never be created or destroyed. That makes sense to me. So I went deep down the quantum world. Mm-hmm. And then when I started getting back into the spiritual world, into yoga, and reading like the Bhagavad Gita and the Yoga Sutras and different texts, I started to realize that they were really saying the same thing, just in different words. And I felt this real peace around like finally having answers about what this life is.
Anybody who is a seeker, can resonate with this. It's like you go to whatever it is, mosque, synagogue, whatever your denomination is, and you just get this gut-wrenching feeling. I had a very similar experience, but you get this gut-wrenching feeling that something is not right, and this is not all there is. And you just start asking questions. And a lot of times, depending on what your religion is, you can ask other people these questions, and sometimes you can't. You got to ask yourself. You just got to ponder in your own mind. So I totally resonate with that, because I literally had a very similar experience, and I knew, something intuitively told me that the answers that I'm seeking in regards to what life is about, I'm not going to find them really here. And I was blessed because our pastor was like, and we did this. I want to give you context, because I'm about to say my pastor was one of the best pastors in the city. But to give you context on that, we had an event where all these pastors used to come together, and I would notice, how each pastor was moving, how religious each of them were. Our pastor was also very religious, but he was also very conscious. So I've just been so blessed to be in a religious experience, but also have a religious mentor, because he was a mentor for me for a very long time, who was also conscious. And I remember asking him about hell one time, and he told me, he didn't give me the generic answer. He didn't say, well, hell is a place you go and there's brimfire and all that stuff. He said something so woke, and this is before I even knew what woke was. He said, hell is more like an experience. It's more like a state of being. And when he said that, something in my brain clicked, like, oh, there's more to this religion thing. It's not so black and white. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I was just so blessed to have that experience and have him as a mentor.
Well, it's good that you bring that other side up, because I'm not knocking religion at all.
Yes.
I believe that there's a real faith and beauty and to it.
Yeah.
So long as people are accepting that it's not the only way, so long as you know what I mean. There's definitely beauty to it. So yes.
Yeah, I think religion is one of those things where it can either bring us together or it can separate us.
Well, I think that's what it does do, coming from this, my religion is the only religion idea.
But I don't even believe that's religion. Sorry to cut you off.
Yes.
I think that people, there's a certain mindset that will say that. But there are people in every denomination, and they're just, regular people.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
they believe in their religion, but they're not die hard. You know what I'm saying? They're not super.
As long as they're inclusive, I mean, that's it. It's either you're either living in a separation, which is false.
Yes.
Or you're in this, because every religion has the same message of love. Ultimately, we go back to the fear or love. The only control we have over reality is fear or love. That's it. Our response. It's how we respond to a reality. We don't have control of anything else other than that.
Yeah.
So if we're responding with love, which most religions is teaching love, then for me, love is holistic and all-inclusive. If there's any sort of concept of duality or separatism, that's what has caused conflict in our world.
Yeah, and it's so easy to, wow, this water just got so
The
strong
waves are
and beautiful.
just feeling that extra flow there.
I love this. That's what happens.
Can we do
when
a stop, drop, and om?
Oh, hell yeah. But before we do, can you just like let our viewers and listeners know what that is?
Sure. So in Flow last year, we got invited to do the Yoga Fest, and just we were, you know, our job was to just entertain this room that had people walking in and out, different vendors and whatnot, and so we had free control to do what we wanted. And I just had this idea, like, we should do stop, drop, and om. You know, instead of stop, drop, and roll, it's just when life is crazy or you just want to enjoy the present moment, stop, drop, and om.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Now that you guys have the context, let's
Okay,
do
ready?
it.
Let's take an inhale.
Shift the mic back just a tad bit, just so that here we
don't
go.
wanna
I'll hold
blast
this.
them. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So you just take a deep inhale. The om is a very spiritual thing to do if we want to get back into labels, but
The stop, drop, and om.
It.
You're the creator, no?
Yes. The om. Well, I'm not. You're the creator as well, or no? Well, the om, for anybody who doesn't know what an om is, but I'm assuming your viewers would know what an om is.
Well,
who knows who's listening?
I
to
mean,
this?
we can assume that they don't and explain
Right.
it.
Yeah. Well, the om, as they say, is the most powerful sound. It's the sound of creation because it's got all of the beginning of creation is the O when you form the O, Om, and the and then the silence at the end. So they call it the sound of creation, but also what it does vibrationally to your internal world is bring complete calmness and presence. So if you feel, I just like to say to my clients or anybody that I work with, if you're feeling rushed or anxious or whatever, just stop, drop what you're doing. And just do a little om. It takes 2 seconds.
Do you know what I like about that too? The om is very easy to do because when you tell people to just, you know, take a breath and stop, we take breath for granted.
Yeah.
So most people have a hard time with that. But when you say stop, drop, and om, it's got like a hipster effect happening.
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool. It's really
Oh my
really fun.
ducks!
Oh, look at our little guests.
Oh my god!
Hello. Hi. Guys, we don't have any food for you, but you're welcome to join the podcast. For those
my
listening,
gosh,
only we have a gang of ducks here. These are my favorite animal, by the way, but these aren't ducks. These
Were
are
you literally
Canadian
just
geese.
these are Canadian geese, but
Yeah.
you were just saying how ducks
at
were
the
your
baby.
favorite.
The
Hi,
baby is
little
so cute.
babies. I love that they just came over to say hello.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Well,
maybe they heard our om.
Oh yeah, they must have heard the
Oh, that is so incredible.
Guys, come on
Hi,
in. Come on in. Get
come
comfortable.
This is cute.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, and like you're saying, brings you to the presence, the breath, and people forget to breathe.
Yeah.
And the om, what it does is it puts a focus on our exhalation.
Mm.
And it's only when we can completely empty our breath that we can allow space for magic to take its place. Like these ducks just coming in right now. Hi, guys.
This
Did
is
you
so
hear
magical.
our om? That is so magical.
And you know what's funny about that too? I find that usually when I'm in high anxiety, it's because I haven't exhaled.
Yeah.
So I feel like the om is a good way to exhale
Exactly.
because it's like I breathe in and then I'm like I'm stuck there. Like the exhale doesn't happen.
Yes.
Full exhale. Even
Full.
when I try to breathe in my meditations, I notice the part that I have to put my intention and focus on is emptying everything out of my lungs so that I can actually do a full breath in. So yeah, the om is really special in that way. It
Indeed it is.
it really focuses on getting you to do a full breath in and full breath out. and the resonance of it too is super beautiful.
That's right.
God, that was so special.
That was extremely special. They literally just. Oh, here's a few more trailing along.
It's like it doesn't get better
You
than that.
just can't write that shit.
We've been saying that all day.
All day.
For those you guys listening and watching, me and Sarah have had an epic day.
Flow day.
A day of epic proportions. Like, it's just been unreal. We started the day. Let's walk them through it. We started the day. What do we do?
Well, and this is just to your point about like what is the Flow Network about. A part of what I'll do is these VIP flow days with Sara Di Felice.
Someone can invest in this?
Yes, absolutely. And they'll experience the magic of flow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm so upset because I wish that we had like live video, because like when you say a VIP experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are not really gonna understand like what they're getting out of that. But if they could be there and they could see what
Magic happens.
experience that I had today, they would be like sold. They'd be sold. But you know, this is sounding like super promotional.
I know. I was like,
we had scripts before the podcast.
Like this, we're gonna talk about this, and this. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and it's it's about the experience, and a part of the new, like, we're talking about transformational marketing. So a part of my one of the exciting things about Flow Network is we're going to be creating reality show, like a real reality show where we are, going live to the best of our abilities in these flow states.
But this is my thing, is how do you keep the videotaping of it out with, or not interfering with the experience? Because I don't know if we would have had...
Did you feel that it interrupted in our experience today?
You didn't really, did you video?
I did. See, this is the thing.
Oh.
This is my what I've had to own is my gift, is because I've been attached with a video camera since I was 5.
Yeah.
For me, people think that it pulls me out of being present to hit the record, but it's not. It's an extension of me, and it doesn't pull me out. It's just a part of me. So I can capture a story without it affecting anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not only till I create the video afterwards that people are like, oh, how did that happen? You didn't even notice how much I
noticed
today.
I noticed 1 or 2 times,
Yes.
but I mean, it was so like stealth and like intentionally done that what I was thinking you were talking about was full on like video, like the entire day. Is that what you mean or no?
Well, I have done that, and we've already been creating episodes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just.
Oh, so does it work?
It works.
Oh, okay.
It totally works.
So interesting. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
That's because I don't feel like what you did today interrupted the flow at all.
No.
But let's keep this in context.
Yes.
So the day. Because we keep talking about the day, but they're like, what's the day? What happened?
What happened? Well, actually, they'll see the day on the Flow Network, because I will be creating a beautiful story of our day. Because I thank you so much for you taking the shots of me.
Yeah,
like, you took time to come to Burlington.
Yeah.
And take headshots for me. So thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll keep them in suspense.
We'll keep them in suspense. Yes.
So if you're listening or watching,
who knows if the podcast is going to be out first or the video? Who knows?
Oh yeah, true. Oh yeah, because if this comes out after, I'm releasing. This may be one of the few that I release. July 1st, I'm releasing 5.
Okay.
And then this could be in that 5, or it'll be shortly after that. So I don't know when you plan to do your thing, but.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. I'll race you. No,
okay. To the races.
Yeah, that's super epic. So
our day started with.
Oh, you're gonna tell them?
Well, we can. Let's riff with it. Or do you want to start them? Do you want to tell them about our day, or we're literally suspense?
It's up to you. I'll let you decide. Because you're the one who's releasing the content.
I don't
around
care. You were just gonna tell your viewers or listeners that, like, if they want to be in our flow day, or let's leave it for suspense.
Yeah. Okay.
It's up to you. You're the ask guy.
God, we're so Canadian.
We're so.
It's like,
you decide.
You decide.
No, darling, you do it. I couldn't possibly.
I was at this door for like 5 minutes one time with this guy, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, we're both Canadian, and so it's like a Canadian standoff, you know?
And we just had Canadian geese. Well,
Right?
okay, so let's segue into the Canadian thing if you don't mind, because
Let's do it.
something that's so exciting for me, which with the Flow Network, is creating this reality show, or is calling it a docuseries, documentary, is to really put Canada on the map
Yeah.
in terms of.
Well, I think the Raptors did that.
The
this year.
The Raptors have already. Well, it's the Raptors and it's the people.
Yeah,
You
of
know, the
course.
people and the supporters, and I love the whole like we the North, and you know,
Yeah.
some people talk about, oh, look at all the people getting together over a stupid basketball game. But you know what? Like, I see such beauty in that, and I think it shows. It shows like people rallying together towards something to celebrate, and I think that's what people want. You know, they don't want to just focus on
Well, I'm thinking
the
like
negative.
I'm thinking why isn't that special?
Well, so people would, because so the thing I was seeing on social media was like, how are people caring so much about basketball but they don't care about this? And then it was like all the negative things going on in the world. You know, like you don't care about the children starving, or we can't figure out this, or we can't figure out that, but people will come together for this. So I believe that, well, people are coming together when they come together towards celebratory things. That's what people want, right?
Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
not about ignoring what's going on,
Yes.
but how are you showing up? How are you and your internal reality showing up to make change from the inside, right? Be the change you seek, is what we say. So putting Canada on the map in these documentaries as we're evolving, to say that, you know what, Toronto's really special. Toronto and Canada and the people and the intentionality that we have. And, you know, it's becoming, it has been, it's the new mecca for tech, for economy, for entertainment, for broadcasting, for raising consciousness on the planet, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a part of what I will be highlighting and connecting to different leaders who are about this and the real change that we're making.
So that's so cool. So then, okay, now I'm like interested in how this, because I understand how the flow worked with us today. But what I'm interested in is how would that work with like are you just doing it with entrepreneurs?
Well, so when you say how will it worked with you. So if it worked just with you and I.
Well, we had a day planned, kind of.
Kind of, though.
Not really. We kind of flowed, but I mean, like, we had an intention to do something, and we did it. So we had an itinerary, is what I'm trying to say. Kind of.
Well, and that's for me how you become an ultimate creator, is trusting
Yeah.
that whatever rough intention you have will manifest. So
Okay.
if I have this intention for what it is I want to create, yes, I want to connect to entrepreneurs who are doing what they love. This is why we're in Flow. We found the WeWork co-working spaces where we're hosting our first one. Their slogan is "Do what you love." So we'll be connecting to businesses and tech, and it's just a whole variety of different businesses. But so yeah, I mean, connecting to leaders, connecting to entrepreneurs, connecting to philanthropists, charities. Ultimately, I see Flow Network really being amongst leaders in the UN and like global leaders, because I think that we're starting to see the disruption happening on the planet, and you know, I sense, I see there's going to be quite a stir up as we change. It's not about fighting the old or breaking down older systems, as I was talking about the education system and the economy. But I feel like there's leaders that are rising now to create new structure for the younger generations, especially the millennials. Like, they're so brilliant.
So advanced.
And they're so advanced, and they're so connected to the heart.
Yeah.
They're just looking for these new structures and systems to be implemented to really make powerful change on the planet. I think we're going to go through a little bit of a wobble. We're going through a little bit of a wobble, or as we like to call the swamp. The swamp, which, you know, you get kind of dragged down into really, you know, the different shit that can come up as you're transforming.
Yeah.
You know, when you're really like going through an identity shift, and we're going through a global identity shift on the planet right now.
Yes, I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just interesting. I'm very much a people. Like, I like watching people. I know that sounds creepy, but
I like watching people. Why do you think it is that people like watching other people?
I don't know. There's like a peaceful You know what it is? There's an authenticity that I think everybody is starved for, and that's why I love this podcast, because it's just like ducks can swim up. No one expects that. It's organic, right? And I think we are all craving that level of organicness, the feeling of it. And when we watch other people, we see them, you know, without ego, and that organic feeling is something that we all. It helps fill that void that we all have, right?
It gives permission for yourself to be real yourself.
Yes, yes. It really does.
You know what it is, and this is what I talk about on my network as well, is people just want to have permission to be themselves.
Yeah.
And when you're in the business world, or when you're in the spiritual world, or you're on camera, or wherever it is, you feel like you have to present yourself in a certain way, and that is the whole like old way of living out in. And people need this. People want to wake up to, I can be myself no matter where I go, and I can be vulnerable and just show up as I am.
Yep.
And keep it real. You know? And it's funny because when I started out on the video journey, I hired these business mentors like 2 years ago. I would go to San Francisco, and we were supposed to, you know, they'd give us an exercise we'd have to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that time for exercise that was supposed to be used for us to do something, people would be asking me about how I make videos.
That's so funny.
I know. And so they'd be asking me, how are you so authentic on video? And I'd be like, oh, this is a thing? Like, it started to become something for me to realize, like, oh, like, this is something that people want to know about.
Yo, do you know what's so funny? Hold that thought. Do you have it?
I got it.
Okay. Do you know what I noticed? Everybody is a genius, but I've been connecting with a lot of geniuses, and each genius, I can hold this so you can recenter that if you want.
I just want to like readjust my seating.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
There you go. Get cozy.
I'm cozy. We're
Yeah?
sitting on rocks here, so I'm just adjusting my butt. Yes.
It's a rock beach. It's a rock beach, guys.
The water's high.
Guys and gals.
Guys and gals. And
But
humans.
geniuses very rarely are present to their own genius. Like, they just think it's normal.
Exactly.
And it's so interesting for me to see, because I'll be talking much like this, and I'll say something like, wow, you are really good at that thing. And they'd be like, yeah, but I mean, yeah, you know, it's whatever. Like, to them, it's like breathing air. So it's so interesting to see up close and personal.
It's very relevant to all the conversations that I've been having, because that's exactly it. Every single person's a genius.
Yeah.
And through our programming and conditioning, we kind of forget who we are, and we don't honor and value what comes natural. And it's mostly like what we enjoy doing when we were a child, because when you're a kid, you don't question. You're just like, this is me being me. I am who I am. You know. And it's going back and discovering all the parts of yourself to really discover your wholeness and realize that we are all geniuses. We're all brilliant, and we all have something to give to one another. We all have something to offer. And like to say, it's like when you discover all your edges of your puzzle piece, you know what other puzzle pieces you belong and fit to.
Wow, that's a really cool
I can't take credit for that one. That was
no, just
Adam
take
Roa,
credit.
but it was
I'm kidding.
I love it because it's so beautiful, and it's, you know, what I've kind of had a sense about, and I've been in this journey, like we said, there's a piece missing. What the piece is missing is always there. It's not that it's actually missing. You just can't see it because you didn't honor it, or you didn't give presence to it, or you didn't, you know. But everything we've done in our whole life, this is what I've seen in my journey, is everything we've done serves who it is we are, and it serves ultimately how we can, what our offering is to the world, which feels so easy and effortless. Well, maybe that's just why we came to this planet. Maybe we just came to this planet to do what we love, and it happens to be easy. And like you said, you didn't notice, you know, that I had the camera on. It didn't take away from what our day was. It was, for me, a joy. It's fun for me. It's my play. It's my art. And it's just so ingrained in a part of me that it doesn't pull me away from presence.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I felt like, you know, even though you hit the record, and I noticed a few times, it wasn't like something that I found got in the way of what we were, you know, experiencing or doing. Well,
I always make an intention that our experience that we're doing is is the thing. Like, that is the most important thing.
Ah.
Secondary is that, right? Well, secondary is secondary is everything, really.
Yeah.
The primary is this, you know. And so going back to
But that's so important.
Yes.
What you just said.
Yes.
Primary is the event, the thing that's happening.
The thing that's happening in the now moment.
And then everything else is secondary.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just hit me, but it's there's something about it that resonates on a deep level because it's like it helps me refocus my mind. Like,
because I think what happens is like when we're not present, when we're not just doing the primary of being and breathing. That's primary, you would say, being and breathing, just beingness, presence.
Yeah.
That's the primary. And when we're not in that, it's because our mind is either in the past or the future.
Yeah.
And we're either like anxious about what's going to happen or what hasn't happened yet, or if we're on time or for this or for that. So most of us are living not primarily in the present. The primary moment has become the secondary, third, fourth, fifth, or the last thing, because we're so caught up in all the other things that we have to.
And even as you explain this, like, I get it, but also I was in a space where I felt like that was the present. I think that even though we're thinking, we have these thoughts that are always happening, and we're not present, we think we are, and that's the scary thing.
Exactly.
Like, for a lot of time, I thought I was present, but it was really my mind going and thoughts happening. But presence it's so wildly different than anything else.
Because there's two aspects. There's presence, and then there's being present in presence.
Well, I'm waiting for the explanation. Like, you like left me hanging there. I'm like, and what's the difference?
So I think the difference is, like, presence is always there. How aware are we of the presence? How aware and conscious are we with presence?
Beautiful. I love it. Okay, so Sarah, we're like hitting the hour soon.
Holy.
I know. So what I would like to do before we wrap this up, because obviously we could talk forever, is ask you two questions before we get on out of here. First is, and I guess it's super relevant now since you rebranded. Where can people connect with you, and do your social media plug thing?
Okay. Well, because I'm rebranding and Facebook's taking its time, it's still I'm kind of hoping the flow will change tomorrow when I have my first workshop, but will be Flow Network, at Flow Network, or you can do at Flow Responders, because right now it still says 5dtv.network. Okay. That's literally being organic, and I'm in my transition. Facebook said it'll take 3 days to change, but it's been a little bit longer, so that's okay. So, but Flow Network for now on Facebook, and Flow Network on Instagram. Okay,
gorgeous, beautiful. All right, so the last question is, and I'm almost afraid to ask you because you're so on cloud nine, but I ask all my guests this question.
Afraid.
What does infinity mean to you, and how do you experience it in your everyday life?
Infinity is presence.
Oh, sorry. One more thing. I forgot to mention, as you respond to this question, I want you to pretend like I'm a child, pretend like I'm a kid. I don't have understanding of really big concepts. So, like, as lowest denominator as possible.
Well, isn't this just a funny question after sharing the story of my fear of infinite space as a child? And now telling someone, you're asking me to tell a child, what does infinity mean?
So pretend like you're talking to Sarah of the past.
Oh my goddess, you just blew my mind right there as these two Canadian geese float on by. Right. I would say, little Jordan, little Sarah. Infinity means that there's infinite possibilities for what you want to achieve in this life. And as so long as you believe it, you will achieve it. Allow your imagination to run wild and free, because you can be whoever and whatever you want to be. That's what I would say to a child.
There you have it. There you have it.
There you have it.
Thank you, everybody, for coming with us along this ride, this journey. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
This has been such a nice spot. I'm
God,
so glad that
yeah.
we came here.
Epic spot
Epic
location.
spot location.
Sarah picked this beautiful little cove by the water.
Yeah, we were gonna do it at my house, but there was an alarm beeping, so.
Oh God! Thank God for that
I
alarm.
know, we were gonna do it. My front porch was pretty cute.
Okay, we have to close with this. Hold on.
Okay, what?
This is what flow means to me.
Okay, yes.
I didn't get an opportunity to explain it on the show, but it's
Yes.
like we got to your house, we were gonna do the podcast, and there's this annoying alarm in the background. Now, normally, right? It's like, fuck that alarm. My life is we can't
What
do
are we
the
gonna do? We're
podcast
gonna stress
anymore.
out and try to call the landlord and get them to finish
let's
it.
not do the podcast. Yeah. Downward spiral, right? But
Right.
you're like, you know what? Maybe we should just go by the beach. Immediately click, ding, yes,
Ding.
obviously.
Yeah.
And then we come down here and you have a little spot, and I'm just like, that's flow. It's like, like life throws a curveball at you, and you just kind of like, you matrix it, you dodge it, and you go another way. But most of us are so stuck on doing something one way.
Right.
Like I
So you
could have
gotta
been
push. That's the thing. You gotta push. You gotta fight, or you gotta freeze. Fuck this. We're not. Oh, can I say fuck?
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, I already said fuck.
Okay, true. Or whatever, right? Or freeze. Like we're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna. The flow is accept. Okay, accept this is happening. Allow
Yeah.
the movement to take you where you want to go,
Yeah.
and then act with love.
Wow.
If you can choose flow every single time, you'll slip right into
Yeah.
the stream of magic.
Yeah. I'm just thinking how that could have not turned out completely like, you know what I'm saying? Like it could
Yeah.
have gone so different.
So differently. And that's what happens to so many people's lives. Like when we get like just taken sideways sometimes for a long time.
That's deep.
It could be
Because I'm thinking about, okay, you were in flow, right? And that's why we're here. But imagine, and I'm putting this out to you guys so that you can be a bit more compassionate with the people in our community. Imagine people who just make that mistake of, let's say they complained about that alarm. They're right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They live there in that space. It's not their responsibility. It's a co-op space. The landlord's supposed to make sure that stuff is taken care of. So technically speaking, intellectually speaking, they're correct in saying, fix this problem. But it's not flow. And I think that a lot of people keep making those decisions where it's like they focus on the negative of a situation, and then their life just becomes this, accumulation of negative experiences.
Yeah, what we focus on expands.
So it's like I'm just so much more compassionate,
Yeah.
now seeing it from
Yeah.
this perspective of, they just haven't chosen flow yet.
Right. and that's exactly it. I love that you're ending on compassion, because like not only do we have to have compassion for others who don't have the awareness of another path,
Possibility, yeah.
right? Or their programs are so deeply ingrained and they haven't discovered their wholeness or their edges of their puzzle piece, and they're just fixated on this one, thing that has to be this way, and they're, so it's like we're all on journeys. And
Yeah.
if we can have compassion, and especially to ourselves, like
Yeah.
compassion for like when you realize and wake up to the fact that subconsciously I created all this, I kind of created some shit here. You got to bring compassion to
Yeah.
flip into the flow.
We're gonna end on that. Flow, people, flow. We love you.